Cadillac may have gone to that junkyard in the sky, y'all. Was the last words to his beloved daughter Marilyn, "I love you too, baby girl"? Cadillac did warn his darling princess that the DA was onto something and that she needed to be careful. Fernando and Concierge both are looking to avenge Lotus's death with taking someone out that Madame loves. And we know how much Madame loves her daddy. Like, he's all she's got. Let's go ahead and dive into this episode 7 review of All the Queen's Men. This episode propelled the season forward for sure, as it opened with Amp getting into a huge altercation with Big D. In the previous episode, episode number 6, Amp caught Big D talking to somebody in his trunk. And we all know that he's really there to find out where the hell Dime is. And he's so out of it, the fact that Big D is standing outside in a robe in the middle of the night with his trunk open talking to himself wasn't strange to Amp at all. Now, right in the middle of this heated junior high school yard fight, Dime opened Big D's trunk, to get the tire jack when she saw Casanova's fake dead body. So she ran to the club to tell Madame, and she found out that Madame already knew. Dime seems to have a good head on her shoulders, and she used to be a dancer herself. But even though she's loyal to Madame, I can't help but to think that she may be a bit troubled by all of the murders that are taking place like every hour on the hour. Like, does she seem bothered to you guys? Madame talked to both her and Amp, and I'm sure that this conversation dispelled the fact that Amp did not cut Dime's tires. I really don't believe that he did. Big D more than likely did it, just so that Dime could solely rely on him to get her back home, and it worked like a charm, because she ended up getting drunk, laying in his bed with some deep finger action going on. So it worked to some degree, right? And there is a little bit more to Big D, I believe. Even though he's a cop or a detective, whatever his official role is, he gives me Predator vibes, like he's an RAPIST, okay? Big D drove Casanova to the safe house while he went to the swamp in Savannah, because now he knows that his car has a tracker on it. Now, even though he drove all the way to the swamps in Savannah, he made it back in time to get the privilege to get on the main stage with Doc and his friends. Y'all know Trouble had an issue with this, right? She got really upset and stormed off, but she has to remember that she failed to get jumped in. She was too scared, and Big D picked up right where she left off, and he even went the extra mile to get rid of the body, quote unquote. Now we can all lay our suspicions to rest, because this next scene just wasn't quite long enough. It was way too short, but we saw Tommy making sure that Madame got her cookie. And during this cookie scene, Madame got a call from Doc telling her all about his hot night that he had with Detective Davis. She told him not to let her get away and that she'd be right over. When she got there, she discovered that Doc didn't have any video footage or photo evidence of Detective Davis ever being there. During her little visit, she stayed 2 steps ahead of Doc by scrambling his cell phone and disconnecting all of his video cameras, which puts Madame back to square one. So now their only ammunition is relying on the fact that Detective Davis will come back for more of the Shandong. And then this next line kind of shocked me. Madame asked Doc, basically in so many words, if he effed her right? And he said, yeah, just like you taught me. What? The only way that I know that you can teach a grown man how to hit the gussy right is to let him hit the gussy, right? I seriously doubt if they used a blow-up doll. Madame said that if he put it down like she taught him, then she knows that Detective Davis will be back. So as a woman, Madame knows how it feels to have Doc on the inside. So she knows that she'll be back, right? I don't know, maybe I'm reaching. Let me know down in the chat. Now, after Detective Davis left, thinking that she had ruined her career, as she puts it, and went to the station where she met her boss, who can't stand Detective Davis, by the way, but her boss is dirty too. She's trying to help the Tandys get into office as mayor. The pressure is coming from both ends now, from the police chief and now from her boss. And they're both encouraging her to be down and dirty and to bring Madame down by any means necessary. But Detective Davis has transitioned over to the other side, which is what we all expected, right? She craves the lifestyle that Madame has. So later that night, she went to Madame's back door and is now trying to strike a deal with Madam, like for her to pay her off for all the information that she has on the club. She told Madam that Casanova was a cop, but that wasn't enough. I don't know, Madam still doesn't trust her, but Detective Davis had a recorder underneath the table in that interrogation room. She knows that her boss doesn't care for her and that she talks about her behind her back, so she very well may be genuine. And I know it's really hard for her to digest 17 years worth of service, barely getting a promotion in all this time, and then have your peers talking crap behind your back, like calling her stupid. Yeah, I know the feeling. So she's tired of it all, and she's now looking to Madam as an opportunity for her to build a nice little nest egg to secure her financial future while she enjoys some of Dr. Ding Dong in the meantime. Now, back inside the club, we see Rayshawn, Champ, in trouble, coming up with this scheme to blackmail the Tandys. Now, Miss Tandy already agreed to give him $125,000. $125,000. Now, what are you scheming for? Because we know that Rayshawn wants to get revenge and he wants to hurt them, and Trouble wants in on the money. So hopefully Rayshawn gets the 100 stacks before he does anything stupid. Now, this brings us to our final scene, y'all. Right after Detective Davis left Madam, she got a call from Fernando, and he's talking heavily about the guillotine and the unusual sound that it makes when you're chopping someone's head off, right? And he was talking about how smart Madam's father was and how the security around him wasn't that tight. So immediately Madam starts to panic. She's pleading with Fernando not to hurt her father. She told him that she would give herself up and Blue, just don't hurt her dad. She frantically told Blue to go around and get her car, and then she started screaming after Fernando implied that her dad's head was on the chopping block. Then we faded to black. Now, we never saw Fernando with Cadillac. He was just on the phone talking ish like he usually does, right? But that doesn't mean that he wasn't with him. And it looked like he was sitting in a car, and I don't know. I don't think you can use a guillotine in your car. So maybe he was just bluffing, wanting to scare Madam just to watch her be uneasy and uncomfortable. What do y'all think? Do y'all think that he actually was in the process of taking Cadillac out of here? Now, what I liked about this episode is the pace. It picked up quite a bit, and I was satisfied with where things left off, even though we know that Madam had to give somebody up. You know, it was a bit unexpected right here at the end, because I was expecting Concierge to do it, you know, to call all those plays, but nonetheless, it propelled the episode right where it needed to be. And what I didn't like about this episode is how things are going with Rayshawn and Miss Tandy. She just threw in an extra $100,000 to give to Champ because he wanted it. And I don't know, that just seemed kind of weird. And also the fact that Rayshawn really doesn't have to rob them at this point, but yet they're still scheming in the locker room or planning something with Trouble in the mix. And one other extra thing, I'm not going to say that I didn't like it, but it's just concerning to me that the governor's daughter, you know, all this talk around the governor's daughter, no one has found her, seen her. I don't know, it just seems kind of odd that they would bring her up, but then we don't see her or anything. From what I understand on the YouTube streets is that they only have one episode left. So I don't know. She needs to show up and show up fast. But I've already spoken about the things that I did like. This episode is moving the plot along. It's falling right into sync with the other adjoining episodes. So these scenes are all playing up to the end of something, and it's all appropriately timed. Overall, the episode was good, as they all are so far, and I enjoyed it. And I hope that you enjoyed this video like I enjoyed the episode. And if you did, give the video a thumbs up. You know I'd appreciate it. And if you're a fan of All the Queen's Men, go ahead and sub to this channel for more videos just like this one. Thank you so much for joining me today, you guys, and I'm going to see you on the next one.